All right, welcome to the program The Law of the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. This is a program that bridges the gap between the government and the people, and it's a program that talks about socio-political trends here in Nigeria. My name is Rachel David White, and today, as usual, I'm being joined by Xavier Robert. Welcome.
Hi, Rachel. Good to be back on set.
Okay, so back to the people today. It's going to be should I say a power-packed or a field one? Because we have so many issues to discuss today as it is trending, as it is hot. So today, one of the reports we'll be looking at is, of course, about the Ondo Deputy Governor, and of course, we'll also look at the Empower revamped, according to the President's administration, revamped Empower program that he wants to reintroduce. And of course, we'll also look at the allegations that the President's administration has returned for subsidy, which the federal government has actually come out to debunk such claims. So those are the major issues we'll look at today. So a quick rundown of those issues so we understand what we are actually talking about today before we come in with our guest for today. Xavier.
Yes,
okay, so let's just start from the first story. You know, an Akure High Court has given the Ondo State House of Assembly the leeway to proceed with the impeachment of the Deputy Governor of the state, Honorable Lucky Ayedatiwa, who is facing charges of gross misconduct leveled against him by the Assembly. Well, the court presided over by Justice Oluyemi Akintan Oshade Bey held that the case filed by the Deputy Governor through his lawyer, Mr. Ebun Olu San, constituted an abuse of court process, having filed a similar suit in the Federal High Court, Abuja.
Ayedatiwa had dragged the Ondo State government, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, the State House of Assembly, the Speaker of the Assembly, Clerk, and the Chief Judge to court over the plan to impeach him from office. In the first application, Lucky Ayedatiwa had sought the leave of court to amend the originating summons by striking out the name of the governor and also amending the relief sought in the originating summons. Now, in the affidavit in support of the application deposed on October 3, 2023 by an aide to the Deputy Governor, it was stated that there is a need to amend the originating summons to bring the real issues in controversy between the parties before the court.
Well, you know, although the defendants, through their counsel, did not file any counter affidavits to the said application, they opposed it on point of law, actually. And, some of them said the claim of Ayedatiwa against the defendant is to prevent them from discharging their constitutional functions as enshrined in Section 188 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended. And also, he challenged the competence of a substantive suit of Deputy Governor relying on Section 188, subsection 10 of the Constitution, which was said off the jurisdiction of the court. He contended that the suit was premature since the Assembly is yet to conclude the proceedings of removal, especially when there is no quest before the Chief Judge to constitute a panel of investigators. And the Assembly also contended that the Akure case constitutes an abuse of the process of a court, because a similar suit was filed at the Federal High Court, Abuja, presided by Justice Nwite.
Now, in our ruling, Justice Akintan Osadebe rejected the amendment to the originating summons, which sought to remove the name of the governor and amend the reliefs before the court. She held that no amendment can cure an incompetent suit. Now, the judge said the reliefs sought before the Federal High Court, Abuja, are the same as the ones before her court. Now, since the federal and state high courts had coordinated jurisdiction, the suit of the Deputy Governor constituted an abuse of the court process. Now, the judge, however, said she would not entertain the case as regards Section 188, subsection 10 of the 1999 Constitution. She dismissed the case for lack of jurisdiction.
Well, don't forget that Ayedatiwa had sought an interim injunction to prevent Governor Akeredolu and others from harassing, intimidating, embarrassing, or even obstructing him from performing his duties as a deputy governor of Ondo State. And the court had granted his request, and the matter had been scheduled for a substantive hearing on Monday. Well, let's just move away from that now. Trending here in Nigeria, Group Chief Executive Officer, GCEO of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL Melekari, yesterday said the administration of President Bola Tinubu has not reinstated fuel subsidy as alleged. While this is despite the confirmation of oil marketers that the federal government has restored subsidy for premium motor spirit, PMS, also known as petrol. Tinubu had announced the removal of fuel subsidy on his first day in office, leading to increase in fuel price from 197 to between 480 and 570. To pump price was subsequently reviewed upward to 620 and even 670 in some places. Well, there were reports that the price would go up as a result of, fluctuations in the global market. And there were also reports that the federal government intervened to prevent further rise in pump price. Well, subsequently, it was found, documents which showed that despite the numerous assurances by Tinubu's government that subsidy was gone, the federal government, according to report, paid 169.4 billion naira as subsidy in August to keep the pump price at 620 per litre. And a document by the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAAC, cited by some reports showed that in August 2023, the NLNG, that's the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas, paid $275 million as dividends to Nigeria via NNPC Limited.
Well, we also have records that the NNPC Limited used $220 million. That is about 169.4 billion naira at the rate of 770 per dollar out of the $275 million to pay for the PMS subsidy. And then NNPC held back $55 million illegally. But speaking on the televised interview, Festus Osifo, the national president of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, also said due to the cost of crude oil in the international market and the exchange rate, the government still pays subsidies on petrol and carry. Well, however, reacting to questions from State House reporters at the presidential villa Abuja Monday after a meeting with President Tinubu, stated that when asked if it was true that the fuel subsidies had been restored, but he refuted that actually.
Well, this has stirred lots of, I would say distractions, different people having different opinions about, government returning fuel subsidy. Remember that yesterday in a conversation, our guest for yesterday had said, one of the mistakes that the president made was
removing fuel subsidy.
Yeah, and he actually said if he was in a position to advise the president, he would actually ask him to return back subsidies.
Fuel subsidy. Well, the reports that we're getting, Rachel, I like to believe that there's no smoke without fire. So if truly something of this nature is going around the back door, well, I feel in the coming days, the truth will definitely unfold. Yeah,
this is Nigeria, so we get to find out everything. Well, away from that, before we run to our guest, President Bola Tinubu's government has announced the introduction of a revamped N-Power program. Well, the federal government also announced plans for the creation of 5 million jobs for youth in 5 years through its N-Power scheme. And the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Idu, confirmed the development during a recent interview.
Now, this was made known by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Idu. According to the minister, the N-Power scheme is a component of the safety net program designed to prevent people from falling into poverty. The minister made this assertion days after the federal government suspended the scheme, a component of the National Social Investment Program (NSIP), launched by former President Muhammadu Buhari on June 26, 2016, to combat youth unemployment and promote social development. But In the redesigned program, it was stressed that the N-Power scheme would be on a first-come, first-served basis. I really hope that that point would be explained, Rachel. She said the scheme and other social intervention programs of the government are geared towards fighting poverty in the country.
You know, the surprising thing now is an ex-lawmaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Robinson Owak, joined the train of commentators who reacted to this development. He said there was a need to treat poverty alleviation schemes as a developmental policy rather than a charity project. Okay, so the data reveals so far that 71 million people are living in extreme poverty, while 133 million of the country's 214 million population are experiencing multidimensional poverty. So Owako commended the president for balancing the distribution of resources amidst the dwindling government revenue, but he insisted that a more sustainable approach is crucial to address the situation. And in line with this, he expressed deep concerns over the poor standard of living, high unemployment rate, and low wages in the country, and also urged for collective action to tackle this issue, underscoring the urgency of restructuring poverty reduction strategies in Nigeria. And his statement emphasizes the need for swift and effective changes in the way Nigeria addresses its poverty crisis. I mean, when this revamped N-Power scheme issue came up, I would say, or story, it garnered lots of, reactions from different people, positive and, negative as well. Now, some people have the opinion that it's not the first time the government, brings up something but never gets to implement it. So implementation is always the issue we face here.
Well, I would like to probably give the former President Muhammadu Buhari some kudos when it comes to the N-Power project, because to some extent it was actually implemented. I actually know a couple of people who were direct beneficiaries of if not do better, at least try to reach out to youths.
What catches my attention is the revamp. I think we should just rush now and get to, bring our guests to the house so we can talk better on this issue. Well, just stay tuned. We'll go on a short break. We'll come right back.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the Constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my Lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court, my Lord.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Welcome back to the show. It's still the program, The Law, the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. And just to get you notified that you can be a part of the show, if you call the phone number displayed on your TV screen, or you can send us a WhatsApp or a text message. So we're being joined already on standby by the focal person, NSIP, in the person of Godwin Akpan. So welcome to the show, Mr. Godwin Akpan.
Thank you. Good evening.
Okay, so Mr. Godwin Akpan is a state focal person on National Social Investment Program, Akwa Ibom State. Welcome once again.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, so I'm trying to get your voice. I don't know if you can be a bit more audible. Okay.
What do you say?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm good today.
Okay. I like the fact that you say you're good today. Okay, so let's quickly get to the main gist of the day. I want to talk about the recent development, talking about the president reintroducing a revamped Empower scheme, and of course promises by the president to alleviate poverty. Now, there have been so many concerns from different persons. First, I want to know your reaction concerning this issue.
Okay, I like to simply put it that before the close of the Buhari administration, the National Social Investment approached the National Assembly and wants that program to be institutionalized, not just a program of APC, but a part of government. Whatever government comes into board, we can do it. So that's why we made an agency. So that's an purpose. That program has come to stay. Whether it's Empower, whether it's social investment, whether it's cash transfer, whether it's school feeding, the program has just come to stay. So that's exactly what it is.
Okay. Okay, so it's not associated with any administration. It has come to be part of Nigeria. Now, I understand that whenever... Okay, go ahead.
It has come to stay. It's not just a political party thing. It's a program, social for all Nigerians.
Okay.
Look at the youth, you look at the children and the school, you look at the elderly women, you look at the market persons and all of that. So we just come to stay. So that's why it's made an agency. So that's why we are appealing to every other state government to please institutionalize and also domesticate the same thing we have in the national. So we can also have a state agency of the program in all the states of the federation.
Okay, now let me ask a question. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me ask. Whenever the government talks about cash transfer programs, poverty alleviation, getting to the most vulnerable persons in Nigeria, that has to do with statistics. And this is one of the major challenges we are having in our country today. How does the government hope to reach, the poorest of the poor, or the people most in need, the people it wishes to reach out to? For example, we've had the palliatives, and I can tell you with facts that these palliatives were not shared to, I would say, everyone who the government intended to get to.
Yeah, we are aware of that discrepancies. What I want us to understand is that there is something at the national level we call National Social Register. National Social Register. We also have call it State Social Register, where all the vulnerable persons in the states, in each local government, in each community, in each ward, in each unit, were captured. The government needed to liaise with that department to ensure that that palliative went around. But in the wisdom of the governors of each of the states, they decided to do it, and they set up a committee to handle that. We are also hearing from Akwa Ibom State, for instance, we are hearing issues here and there, but I'm sure that His Excellency the Governor wished and I expected that the thing would go, and I'm also sure because as we speak, nobody has actually come to say they have parted through all the units and the villages. So we are yet to, the government is also trying to get the reports back where the thing didn't get down to the people that were intended. So, but for government, we have a social register, we needed to have followed the social register. And a lot of governors also showed apprehensions about the social register. They complained that since they were not part and parcel of the government that formed the social register, they may not have been carried out. But that's not the truth. The true position is that the social register was and is still being one of the major instruments that even the World Bank and UN organizations and donor agencies rely upon.
Dr. Godwin, would you say, you said something earlier concerning that other states should make efforts towards domesticating the NSIP in their different states. Would you say that there is a law, is there a law that is governing the NSIP program? Is there a law backing it? Just like the NYC scheme?
Yes, there's a law. By the grace of God, Dr. Godwin represented the staff of the South. I am the leader of the South as part of the people persons that are concerned. So we were in the National Assembly to ensure that this bill was passed, and then we got the president to assent to it. So what is required now is for each of the state governments in 36 states, including Abuja, to domesticate it and have a state social investment agency that we have in Abuja. Now we need to have a state social investment. There's an advocacy to that effect. I have written a memo to His Excellency, and I'm sure in no time that the Excellency will maybe make an executive bill to the State House Assembly for that to be domesticated.
Now, looking at the imports of the NPower program and the gains it has been able to bring to Nigerian youth, especially coming back home here in Akwa Ibom State, how would you appraise the achievements of the NPower program from the perspective of the past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari? What statistics would you give in terms of the quality of reaching out to the youths and being able to empower these young ones who maybe freshly from the tertiary institutions, or those ones? I understand there are segments to the NPower program. Some cater for people that are that are first school living certificate holders, and there are the provisions for people that are graduates and all that. What level of impact have the former administration been able to make since the inception of NPower program?
Okay, between Akwa Ibom State actually participated in NPower program since 2016. Now, between 2016 and 2023, we've had over 30,000 Akwa Ibom youths that have been engaged in that program. Now, and we used to pay them 30,000 naira per month for the services. Now, we had graduate category and non-graduate categories. Graduate categories, we divided into three. There were people who were purely science-based, and we send them to hospitals and cottage hospitals around, all those medical facilities, and they go there to offer services. There are other people that were purely agricultural graduates. We send them to agri farms and extension agencies. And then there were other ones that actual centers, secondary schools and primary school, which they do. You will agree that if you have been a keen follower, you discover that the human capital we put in the system in terms of NPower actually complemented whatever Akwa Ibom State government, for instance, had done in terms of employment of teachers. Now, going beyond that, there are people we call non-graduate categories where we train them on vocations ranging from block laying, painting, craft writing, school writing, and fabrications and all of that. Most of them, and then fisheries and making bread. Now, if time had permitted us, I would take you around to these numbers of beneficiaries who had actually established on their own. Again, that's not to say that there were a lot of misgivings, because a lot of Nigerians still do not believe that those programs were tied to names. When people talk about corruption in the system, the truth is, you cannot pay, because those money were not paid through the focal person. They were paid directly to the beneficiary's bank accounts. The person needs to have a BVN, and then no dead person. You cannot have a BVN or account details or whatever NIN number if you're not a living person. So those money go there directly. Yeah, there could be some misgiving. There's a lot of people who are complaining they are not being paid. Yes, it is most of those beneficiaries didn't go to their primary assignments. And so when the monitors go, they just mark them as absence. And that's going to take a process before they can be put back into the paying system. And others had issues with their bank details, either they are being faulty or their date of birth. So, Nigerians who we would their date of birth. A lot of people give different dates of birth, so it's different from what they give in the bank. So when we go to pay, we have this issue. So those are the bit of by and large, we can simply say that Empower program impacted a lot on the lives of the young Nigerians who actually were the direct beneficiaries. And then to the state the way we always complimented, we actually complimented the effort of the state governments.
Okay, Mr. Godwin, I have an issue with the social register, okay, the National Social Register, because often, you know, many times if we want to talk about the government having to reach out to people, especially at the local level, then we talk about the National Social Register. And then there was a time, I think still on this program, and I asked, what is the issue with the National Social Register? Because sometimes it looks like it has not really captured the people it is supposed to capture. And how long, how often does it get reviewed, you know, maybe to add people to, you know, the list of most vulnerable people? What is the yardstick for measuring the list of most vulnerable people? I mean, here in Nigeria, let's forget about the normal people living with maybe with less than maybe $1 per day and all of that.
Okay, so there's something we call community-based targeting, CBT, community-based targeting. The officials from my office, what they do, they come to your local government or your ward or your unit, and they will interface with the community leaders and ask that everybody who, if they will sound a note of warning, everyone will have to come out. And when they come out, they will now say the community themselves should identify people who are poor and people that need help. Now, this will be done, and then the officials will capture them without any influence from the government.
How often is this done?
The community themselves, that this is done almost on daily basis. But you know, the Nigerian system, it needs to pass through some processes. You know, the bureaucratic bottleneck, you need to pass through some process before we can get this. As soon as this is done, that there are indicators that can show that you are actually vulnerable. For instance, if they come to your community and then they would identify you as a poor and vulnerable, and then when they give you the form to fill, you put in the form that you have an Android phone, you have a television, you are living in a zinc house, you're using a water system, the system will automatically knock you out. There's no way, that means you're not vulnerable. So that's the problem. We do complain. But again, we're simply saying Nigeria should give us the time to strengthen this new government has come. We're going to strengthen this. This document is updated every now and then. So we'll update this to ensure that every segment of Nigerian vulnerable persons, whether they use, whether the children, whether they are taken care of.
Okay, you said this is done, Mr. Godwin Akwani, you said this is done almost on daily basis. Now, I'm surprised to hear that, because, I mean, maybe I haven't been on the ground enough to notice that it's done almost on daily basis here in Akwa Ibom State.
Yes, this is done on all basis. When this data are collected, this data is transmitted to our national office in Abuja, who will now put it through tests, and then all those indicators I have mentioned gone through before they now send the list, and it's tested back in the community to know these are the persons that are truly vulnerable in that community.
Okay, Doctor.
Yes, sir.
No matter how we try to butter it up, we still can't run away from the fact that we still have serious issues of data collation in Nigeria, especially when it comes to, you know, getting to reach a certain class of people. For instance, talking about crime fighting, the war against terrorism, we do not seem to have comprehensive data that tends to give us data on as regards people that are involved in certain nefarious actions in Nigeria. What would, in your opinion, be your advice to government, if you were to give advice to government as regards what they can really do to strengthen our registers of citizens of the country, just like we have in developed countries of the world?
Yeah, that's what we are starting with, the Social National Register. The state has to domesticate it to have a state social register where we can have all these kind of information that we're looking for. Again, you need to understand that there is a statutory body called the Nigerian Bureau for Statistics that is empowered to do this. Now, most of this program that I just started is work in progress. That's what we are appealing to Nigerians to give us more time. We are gradually following. We are also taking feedback from the society. We're getting feedback that we're getting from you now. These are the challenges. We go back to our drawing board and see how we can integrate every segment so we can get. There's no country in the world that can truly say they are satisfied with their data. No country in the world. So we are a work in progress. So we are going to get there. I'm just appealing to Nigerians to give us time to follow it step by step and then pass through all the crucibles before we can get there, sir.
Okay, Doctor, I have some concerns. I mean, as much as you would like to, you know, butter or sugar it up that everything is going well, there is no sector or no policy or no program that does not have challenges. I mean, or some things dragging it back. So, in this scheme, the Empower scheme, and other schemes that seeks to alleviate poverty from the people, what are those challenges that you're facing in those areas, and then you feel these are the things that should be done to, you know, get off these obstacles from the way?
Okay, so thanks. You know, first, the Buhari administration came with alleviating poverty. They're looking at the school children, out of school children, look at the vulnerable women, the aged, and then the youths. These were the concerns of the government. And they did, to their best of their ability and knowledge and resources available, they did their best. Now, the new government has come in, the Tinubu administration, His Excellency the Tinubu has come in, and then we now have a new minister in place. The new minister, for instance, has suspended the Empower program. Not because they don't want to continue, but because she's just coming in. She needs to understand how it works, who is paid what, and what is done what. Do you understand? So that's what it is. So it's not like if you say, "Oh, this program won't come again." No, it is a policy of the government that will continue to take care of the youth. So what the minister is trying to do is, okay, please can you put it on a hold? Let me study the file. Understand who has not been paid, what's been paid, and the way forward. That's exactly what it is. It's for every other program. It's just like that.
Okay.
Of course, you will get the minister and say that we're going to renew the launch trader money again. When in some years back, His Excellency, the Vice President then, former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, what he did was they come to the market and distribute money. They call it market money. When the new minister came, he said no. We had to move into the bank. You know, now Access Bank is doing that, and then so that we can have people to report back. We don't just collect the money as if it's a national thing and go back with it. So the minister has come up with, she's going to study the thing, and then she's a very sound person who, having served as a commissioner in the government, she's coming in with a new figure, with youthfulness that is with her. She's going to come in with some rebranding, and that's why the president is calling it a renewed hope. It's going to be renewed hope for Empower, renewed hope for school feeding, renewed hope for cash consultation. Everything is going to be related so that we can have a proper support of, so people that will not come to those challenges that we have in the sense will can be addressed.
Okay, when you say something is revamped, it simply means that, you know, would I say renaissance? What wasn't there is to, you know, be added to it. So in this revamped Empower scheme, what are those things that were lacking in the former scheme, maybe during the past administration, that has been introduced in this administration?
Okay, yeah, I think most of the problem is, you know, first, like apologies to Nigerian youth, most of the persons who got themselves enrolled in the programs were already working, and this was not the intention of the government. They're already working, so this was supposed to be for people who were not having a job. And so you just find people who just go into the net, got registered, and anyhow just got them and got paid 30,000. So the minister is trying to say, okay, hold on, let's do a holistic, you know, auditing of these things the people that have been paid and all of it. It's not as if we want to retrench anybody. It's just to ensure that going forward we'll achieve what the purpose of which this program was. So that's why it's called a renewed hope. So for Nigerian youth, there's going to be a renewed hope for them that want to get into this program, enjoy much more. Their salary will and the salary will become a more regular than it used to be, and everything will be fine.
Okay, there are some concerns. One more question. There are some concerns from different Nigerians that this program should be a normal. I don't know how to put it. Should just run as a normal thing to just help Nigerian maybe youths instead of using it to say, let me alleviate poverty, or directing it to the most vulnerable or something.
Okay, you will agree that there's no country in the world that can totally eradicate unemployment. And the number of population that we talk about every other day, people that graduate from schools, both secondary and university, and drop out of school children are alarming, not just in Nigeria. And so it takes government concerted effort to tackle these aspects of our demography. The youth demographic is much large, and so these are the people that the government is so much concerned. So government needs to do these stop gaps here and there to ensure, instead of nurturing the street to become a social miscreant, what the government is trying to do is just 2 years, let's be engaged for 2 years, so that instead of being in the street, come offer those services you learned in school, and then pass it to the next generation. Those of you didn't go to school, you can learn a trade, and then in the next 1 year, 2 years, we empower you. We empower a lot of with computer, we empower a lot with trading machines, showing machines. We do go a lot of people with most of the people who do POS businesses are empowered products.
Dr. Godwin.
We train them, set them up.
Okay, Dr. Godwin, I was going to give a follow-up question as regards the statistics issue in Nigeria. Now, recently, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly passed into law a statistics law that is aimed at collating the statistics of Nigeria or in Akwa Ibom to ensure that we deal with the issue where the NBS get to misrepresent the state, so to say, in terms of some statistics in some quarters, for instance, the HIV and all that. Would you say that this new law that has been signed into law by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly would in no little way impact the job that you guys do at the NSIP?
Fantastic. The Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly is doing a great job. Before now, 2 years ago, the NBS came up with the statistics that the number of Akwa Ibom people in public private schools is as low as 131,000, which wasn't adequate. As we speak, the number of pupils in primary schools in primary 1 to 3 is over 600,000. That's what we are supposed to be feeding. But the MBS gave the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs a figure that was far below what we used to pay. That's why we used to have those administrations where we hear people complaining here. People do not capture that school. So we're going to be working with this law. We're going to be working with synergy with the State House Assembly and MBS and all relevant government agencies that we need to collaborate. No government agency can be on its own. We need to examine ideas and fact before we come to the press, because as soon as you give this representation, it goes a long way to affect either negatively or positively what it is. So I'm sure with this law, which the a beautiful thing that they have done, so we're going to be working with them. I am in a few days to come. They have just come back from the I'm going to brief the State House Assembly on how social investment can work. This is a new assembly, so that they can also know exactly how to come to what we are doing, so that we can tap the dividends of the democracy. It's everybody. It's not a political party thing. It's meant for everybody who comes from Akwa Ibom. Every Nigerian is supposed to. Recently, of course, you know that the minister has said that military schools should also benefit. So we are going to be going to Ibawa and every other school that have military investment here and secondary school and then bring them into the feeding net in Akwa Ibom. So I am sure if we give ourselves some time and be a little more patient with the present government, I'm sure we're going to achieve that, sir.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, since the inception of the current administration, we've had rave reviews from different sectors as regards the performance of the government, especially since the first 100 days in office, both at the state and federal level. A lot of comments have trickled in. I would like to get your perspective as regards the performance of government currently, and then what would be your long-term expectations from the federal government of the day and the state government, in this case, Akwa Ibom?
Of course, you know that I know that before anybody aspires to lead the country, he must have had something to offer. So I know that President Tinubu has something to offer Nigerians. I could only say it could be biting at this moment. The economic policies and whatever that are going through, we are going through now as a nation is actually biting. He has promised some palliative, and let's just hope that in a few more months to come, most of these policies will pay off. You know, like the also fuel subsidy and all of that. Let's just give him some time. For Kwara State government, Omodo is doing absolutely very well. He has started very well. In the 4 months you've seen, they have just gone back to not just to integrate what they are doing, they just go to bond. All the governors and the governor and the commissioners, all of them went there to Lagos for bond and then go with a policy. They have gone back to work. They are going to hit the ground running. I am sure it's still too early to touch them. But given the few months they have stayed in office, we can simply say that there's a roadmap that this Arise agenda by him is going to have a feel of the day. Just let's give me some more time.
Okay, thank you so much. I mean, if there was much time, I'd like us to talk about the palliatives, but let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much, Dr. Godwin Akpan.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right. Okay, so that was the voice of Dr. Godwin Akpan, a focal person, NSIP here in Akwa Ibom State. And Xavier, I must say, listening to him, I mean, you know, he has tried to arrest the fears of Nigerians concerning the N-Power scheme, you know, coming back again. And I like the part he talked about, you know, when we talk about having, should I call it politics, or having people, you know, favor their people first or favor themselves first.
The issue of nepotism then.
So I would say, you know, you talk better on that. Of course, we should always suspect that, but there must be a way out. And the fact that the government is trying to revamp, find a way out of some of the challenges that the N-Power scheme had before now.
Yeah, other issues, of course, that are still on the burner to be trashed out are the issues of corruption within the N-Power, and of course the issues that some officials are corrupt. They tend to siphon monies that are meant for the people, and to be injected into the scheme to better reach out to the youths and all that. But then I'm hoping that this revamping is also aimed at addressing all those issues as regards N-Power. Okay,
thank you so much, Xavier Robert. It's been a good one, I'm sure, today.
Yes, of course, Rachel.
All right, back to the people. Thank you so much for staying glued and joining us today on the Law of the People and Governance here on Spectrum Television. Well, we return to your TV again tomorrow, same time here on Spectrum Television.
My name is Xavier Robert, and you can also reach us through our website, that's SpectrumTV.live.ng, for all whatever you would want to reach out us for.
Okay, don't forget to also follow us on X at Spectrum T online, all is one word. My name is Rachel David White. Good evening.